It's a question that we hear a lot, that we thought about ourselves when when we were running a software company too. Is when is the right time to raise money for a business? We'll start there.
I always say like before you need it, but sometime between before you need it and when you need it. And so I would think about it as like, when is the right time to raise money from certain people? And so what I mean by that is, I think there are different stages, and I think if you're barking up the right tree at the right stage, you're most likely to be successful and have the most efficient fundraising process as possible, which is usually a good thing, because you want to spend as little time as possible fundraising, as much time as possible building your business. Fundraising is kind of more of a necessary evil. And so what I would kind of think about is that, like, early stage. So if you are, pre-product or early MVP, don't have material revenue yet, at that stage, really the trees to bark up are, for some of us, there are friends and family that can write $25,000 checks and to go raise, $500,000, through that grind. Some of us don't have friends and family, but that can write those checks. But there are maybe other people in your network, like mentors or former colleagues, or people that could be advisors and actually open doors to you and to customers and other thing at large enterprises if you're a B2B software company. And those can be great other places to raise money, alongside accelerators, incubators, pre-seed funds. And so usually at that stage, those are the kind of the capital sources, right? And so when you start to see firms or see companies that are raising that first kind of $2 to $3 million institutional VC check, a lot of times that's when you have a product and a handful of initial customers, maybe 20, 30, 40,000 a month in revenue. If you're B2B, if you're B2C, it might be more user based. And that's really when you start to see, there are some firms that define themselves as pre-seed firms, but the firms that are really like post-revenue seed and up, that's when they start to be more common to invest, make investments. And so I always think like it's worth starting relationships 12 months ahead of when the firm's necessarily the right fit, but just being cognizant of how much time you spend building relationships or focusing on your business. And so I think when you think you're 12 months ahead of that, definitely worth getting more intros to firms and maybe doing 30-minute intro calls. But I wouldn't necessarily try to raise from certain types of firms till you're the right fit for them, because you can just burn a lot of cycles and they'll take meetings and you won't necessarily end up, closing on money.
Yep. Got it. That's helpful. Yeah, it's always, you got to remember, it's the job of somebody over on the investor side to take meetings, and it's your main job is to run the company and grow the company, though, right? So you always have to keep your eye on that.